Hey, it's Clinton. I wanted to provide you guys with a video walkthrough of how to do the assignment this week. As you know, our classes are pretty short, and I know this is advanced for most of you, so I wanted to give you sort of an aid here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this assignment completely from the beginning and show you how to do the whole entire thing. Of course, I'll let you plug in your own fictional content, but let's get started. So I've already accepted the assignment, and I can either hit open in GitHub code spaces, or I can go to the code menu and choose code spaces and click create code spaces on main. So I'm just going to click this black button and let it open up for me. All right, so now here's my Visual Studio Code. Some of you have dark theme enabled. Still have to figure out how to do that myself. But I think my retinas will survive a few minutes with this. So if you recall, we also want to go ahead and install the live preview so that we can look at our work while we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. Okay. And then I can close this tab. You can see it's installed. One thing to note, the README is going to be very helpful. So you'll probably want to refer back to that. Or just look at it here as you work through the assignment. What we are particularly interested in is this diagram I gave you showing you which semantic elements are to be used where. This will be sort of a roadmap for us. So let's go ahead and get our live preview started. So I'm going to close, well, let's leave the README open. Go ahead and open the HTML file. And I'm going to open the preview. And if you recall, it doesn't really work here, but that's okay. We'll just hit open in browser. It's going to fire up another tab. And what we want to do is open that profile.html file. And so you'll notice the file is empty. So that what we see is perfectly okay. All right, so let's look back at the README file. First thing we're going to need is a header. And inside of the header, we're going to have the title of the page, which I made an H1. All right, so let's add a header. Let me disable Grammarly for this. So we'll turn it off here. Get that out of the way. All right, so we'll add a header. And then we want to add a H1. And we'll call it, we'll add a little emoji here. Do a little heart emoji like I showed you in the README. And we'll call it D-Harmony for bind. Isn't that great? Great name. All right, so we can flip over to our tab, hit refresh. And you see, voila, there's the header. All right, so let's look back at the README. Now you notice the next element we need is a nav directly under the header. So I'm going to create a nav. And inside of the nav, we will have a UL. It looks like I doubled up the navs here. Just overlook that. We only need one nav. So let's directly under the header, I'm going to create a nav. Now, one thing to note is if I'm going too fast, you are perfectly capable of pausing this and coming back once you've got the code entered. So we got a nav. All right, and the next thing I want is an unordered list, because that's going to be what stores our links. And then each of those links will be a list item, so you can barely see it, but that's a little orange, so list item. And then you'll see the anchor tag, which is the A tag there. So we'll create a list item, we'll create an anchor tag, and this will be the home page. And we'll say home. And then the next one is photos, and then similar matches. So let's do that. So we have, let's say, /photos.html, photos, and then we'll do similar matches, so /similar.html, and then similar matches. And let's go look at our live preview here. All right, so does look slightly different, doesn't it? Let's go back and look at this. So we got, maybe I did need to double up on the nav. Let's see. Nav. Doesn't look like it, no. It needs to be in the header. Okay. So does that, yeah, that's what it shows here. That's where I messed up. So if you look, I put the nav outside of the header. So let's move that inside of the header, and everything should work fine. Okay, so make sure you pause here, check your code to make sure it matches. And then let's go refresh. There we go. So now that's exactly what I was expecting. Very good. All right, looking back at the README, The next thing we need is a main section, and this goes after the header. So we'll add this after the header. Okay. And then inside of that, there are a couple of elements. There are two. There's an aside and then an article. So I'm going to go ahead and add both of those. So first we've got an aside, which is something that, augments the page, or, but it's not necessarily the main content, right? So, and then we've got the article, which is the main content of the web page. So the aside will complement the article here. And notice they're both in the main, which means they are related to one another, but it's not necessarily the focus of it. And in this case, if you look at the README, the aside is sort of the snapshot of the person, whereas you really get all the juicy details in the article there. And then inside the aside, we have an image. Okay, so let me go find a good image here. Let's see if we can somehow get an image in here. So let's see. Images, and we'll say Martin Luther the Saint. Oh, yeah, he looks like a very handsome fellow there. So I'm going to grab this guy's picture, save the image to my downloads, and just call it Martin Luther. Okay, so you notice that's martinluther.jpg. Okay, and then over here, we need to see if we can get this image in here somehow. There we go. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a new folder here. We'll call it images. And then I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose upload. Okay. And then we'll choose Martin Luther that I just downloaded. Make sure that comes through. There we go. Very big image of that handsome lad. And so now I can stick the image in here. I'm going to say the source is that's this directory /images, which is where I put him. And then martinluther.jpg. And I'm going to give it a title too, which is a descriptive text for screen readers. And we'll just say Martin Luther profile. And then it's a void or self-closing tag. So make sure you get the ending correct there. And the next thing we need is an H2, and that's the name of the person. So we'll have a H2 below that. We'll say Saint Martin Luther. And then below that, we have a few paragraph tags with some interesting details. So we have a paragraph tag. And I'm going to use my little emoji for a home. And just, some city, USA. You put in your own details, of course. And then his age. So we'll add that. So P, another emoji for a calendar. Okay. And 900 years old. I really have no idea how old he is. You figure out your own details. Next one is his profession. So we'll put a briefcase, and he was a godly man. All right, let's save that and go look at what we've got so far. All right, there we go. Looking pretty good. All right. Now let's get the next part. So we've got the aside here. Now we're going to add the article, which has several sections. All right, so those divided up, and each section has a heading, a H2 heading. So let's add a few sections, and we'll have a H2 heading. And this is the My Story. So you'll put just sort of a brief history, several paragraphs talking about your person. Martin Luther was a saint. Martin Luther loved God. Okay. And then we'll add another section. And this one is interest. And you'll notice we use these little, in UI design, user interface design, these are called chips. And they're used to just list things. It's just a, fancy aesthetic way of listing things. So this is interest, and inside of that there is an unordered list with list items that will be shown as chips. So we'll create an unordered list item. He liked reading the Bible. He liked helping. He liked bonsai trees, I really don't know, so we'll just save that. Flip over, and let's see if we get, oh, there we go. That looks correct. Okay. And then the next thing we want to do is another section for my ideal first date. And you can change this if you want. All right. I really don't care. You know, if you want to put something else humorous here, as long as it's tasteful, by all means, you have creative liberty here. So let's just add another section. And of course, the H2 heading. And then after that, we'll have a paragraph, and we'll say long walks on the beach. Okay, we'll go look at that and make sure it looks correct. And it does. And then we will add a final section, which is quality. So we're going to describe his, his personality. Is he charming? All right, so we'll have section H2 qualities. Make sure you close that tag. And of course, these are chips again, so we'll use the unordered list. And we'll say that he is charming. He is patient. He is, very personable. And then we'll go look at that. Looking good. All right, so let's flip back over to the README. What are we missing? A footer, okay? So the footer is going to have two nested elements, an unordered list with links again, and then a paragraph with the copyright notice. So down here, after main, I'm going to add a footer. And inside of that, we're going to have an unordered list of links. And, we can really just go up here and copy this unordered list because the links should be the same. So I'm just going to paste that in there. And the styling, the CSS, is what makes these links look different than the links at the top. So even though it's the same HTML, the styling applied to the footer actually changes their appearance. And you'll notice, see how that works? It looks totally different than these up here, right? All right, so, and then finally we want a paragraph tag with the copyright notice. And if you want to add the actual copyright sign, HTML has a special character code, just like that. It's the ampersand sign, the word copy, and a semicolon. And say copyright 2024, Bind School, all rights reserved. And then if you go look at that, it should show up underneath that. There we go. Perfect. All right, and that completes your assignment. Okay, so that's it. That's all you got to do. Again, once you're done, remember that all, you can grade yourself. Just look at the rubric, compare it to your results. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the assignment in Google Classroom, and it comes straight to my phone. I will get back to you pretty quickly, usually within the hour. If not, message me twice. Message me again and say, hey, I really need help. I'm working on this now. And I will drop what I'm doing to give you a hand. So hopefully this video helps you out. Let me know, what your thoughts are. Feel free to comment and say it was great, say it was horrible. If I missed something, let me know. I can record another short video to wrap it up. But other than that, good luck, and I will see you guys in class.